Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Alexis and today I'm going to be sharing all of the books that I own physically that I still plan to try before trying to purge. So that means I have over 100 books on my physical TBR that I plan to get to, and I have not listed already on my Pango books. Some of those I will be sharing as well in a video later this week, just to give an idea of what is available on my shop page for Pango books. But if you want to look into that now, it is linked in my description box down below with current listings. So with that being said, let's hop into my physical TBR. Now, before I get into the nitty gritty, I will also like to say that these first books are also included in my fall TBR, and these are the ones that I did not get to. If you want to check out what all the books were that I was looking at for my physical TBR, you can check out that video, but these are the ones that I did not get to. The first two I have here, The Girl in 6E. This is more of a thriller suspense or romantic suspense, or at least that's what's been described to me. I still plan on getting to this. I also have Behind the Bar by Brittany C. Cherry. She publishes under Brittany Cherry right now. I know that her Element series is very popular, but this is one of the ones that I think was supposed to be the first of a new series, the Music Street series, as mentioned here, but I haven't heard any further buzz about it or update regarding this series, so I'm hoping to get to it very soon. Now I'm going to share all of the historical romances from that fall TBR. Here I have An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. I did previously try this, I want to say in 2021, early 2021, if not late 2020, but it's definitely been a while. I did not finish it at the time. I don't know if it's because I wasn't in the mood for it or because it's just not the writing style for me, but at the time I was feeling a little bit of both. So hopefully this works out. If not, you will find it on my Pango Books page. Next, I have The Rakesh. I have been hearing a little bit of buzz about this on BookTube. This is supposed to follow a female main character who is, of course, a Rakesh, and her love interest is a virgin hero. I did get about 2 chapters into this. I did not finish, and it has been a while, so I'm just going to have to restart anyway. I did buy this on Pango Books, but again, if I don't enjoy it, I'm going to sell it off to someone else who might. Then I have The Secret by Julie Garwood. This is considered one of the best historical romances I've heard from other people. Of course, I have nothing to say about it yet because I haven't picked it up myself. But yes, this I believe is supposed to be a medieval romance. Again, I'm not sure. I haven't gotten into it. And I want to know what the juicy secret is that this is referring to. Another one I've heard great things about is Judith McNaught's A Kingdom of Dreams. I've heard that this is, again, one of the best historical romances. Can't really say because I did not read it, but I plan on getting to it. This, of course, is a new cover. The old cover I don't have my hands on, but again, if I don't even like the story, why would I go looking for something that isn't really something of interest to me? So the next historical romance I have is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. I have yet to read a book by Alexis Hall. I know he's very well known for the boyfriend material and husband material books. I've never read. I have those on my hoopla, but I just didn't start them. Like, it's crazy. It's been in my face, but I never actually started those. So I thought might as well just hop into this since I already bought it and see what it leads to. This is supposed to be between two friends, friends to lovers romance. The female main character is in fact trans, and they were in war together. She was presumed dead and took on her new identity, whereas her friend mourned her and was still grieving her loss. So this is them finding each other again, and we'll see. Then I have here some what I think is fantasy romances or paranormal romances. Here is the first in a series, Christine Fahan's Shadow Game. I do own about half the series, but I've never started it, so that is a problem I need to amend this year. Then I have The Road King by Abigail Owen. This is another series I've yet to start. And then Dragon Unleashed by Grace Draven. I did previously enjoy Radiance and Eidolon. However, I am selling those in my Pango book, so you can check my link down below. I did list that recently along with Entreat Me. I did enjoy that, but it is now available on my library, so I didn't feel a need anymore to keep this after finding the physical copy, and they are stunning. But when I think about it long term, I'm just not a fantasy girl that much, and I didn't see a need to keep them. So this one, I'm hoping to enjoy. The first book of this series, the Fallen Empire series, was Phoenix Unbound. I did not like that one. It was too slow for me in terms of the romance. There was way more world building. Again, I'm not that kind of girl. But hopefully, considering that was the intro to the series, this is not as descriptive or as focused on the world building, because we are already introduced to the female main character, and I believe her love interest is supposed to be a cursed man who becomes a dragon. So we'll see, and she is supposed to be like a healer type of person. But I definitely enjoyed her few scenes in Phoenix Unbound, so hopefully I enjoy this one. And if not, both of them are going right to Pango Books, and I'm holding off on listing Phoenix Unbound because if I end up liking this, I don't want them separated. It makes sense to keep the series in my head. But again, if I don't like them, they can be listed together instead of separating the pair. Then I have some historical romances by authors I already enjoy and love, and that would be Suddenly You by Lisa Kleypas. This is supposed to be about a spinster who intends to hire a male escort for her 30th birthday. So she's no longer a virgin, but it turns out the person who shows up is actually someone who is trying to get her work published because she is a writer. But I think, start a chapter of this. Obviously, I didn't finish it, so I'm hoping to restart and continue. I have enjoyed previous books by Lisa Kleypas, of course, but I have yet to complete this one, and part of my intention is to get rid of books that I am not attached to. And if I am attached to this one, of course I'll keep. If not, it's being purged. Next two books I have by the lovely Queen Bee, Aunt Bev, Beverly Jenkins, and that would be Winds of the Storm. This is the second in a series. This is supposed to follow, I believe, a woman who is considered the Butterfly, or at least that is her name. She's like a vigilante type of person around post-Civil War or Civil War era, and her love interest is one of the brothers from a previous book, Through the Storm. But yeah, I'm hoping to get to this soon and continue the series this year. Captured is the third book in the series, although this, I believe, is technically a prequel to this and Through the Storm because of the time it takes place, but still a relative or ancestor of these characters, one of these characters. So hoping to continue this series. Then I have here some Kerrigan Byrne books. I have Crying Wolf. This is from the Good Girl series. I believe this is book 5, if I remember correctly. And this is, of course, following the Good Girl, spelled Goode. That is their family name. And this one, she was, if I remember correctly, she was the one who was kind of, well, illegitimate and not really given much care from their father, and this is supposed to be her and her love interest. Another series would be the Victorian Rebel series. I have to finish The Duke with the Dragon, and this is supposed to be about the Rook and Lorelei, his love interest. Because I've read the beginning of the Good Girls series and the previous books of the Victorian Rebel series, I'm already aware that Lorelei and the Rook end up together, but I haven't actually delved into their story, so hoping to get to this soon. And then this is a novella in the Victorian Rebel series, The Earl on the Train. I'm not sure who this is supposed to follow in relation to the other characters, but again, very soon. I don't see myself giving these up because I love this author, as I do Beverly Jenkins and Lisa Kleypas, so chances are I'm not parting with these, but I definitely want to get to them so I can just say I've been there, read them, and maybe return to them in the future too. Those are all the books from my fall TBR that I plan to continue, and now I'm going to share all of the other physical books that I own I'm hoping to get to. Here I have There Are No Saints and There Is No Devil. These are part of a duology by Sophie Lark. I did previously enjoy the Brutal Birthright series, and I completed most of the Kingmaker series, which is supposed to be a spin-off of the Brutal Birthright series. And these are a couple of her other books that follow a serial killer and his love interest. That sounds dark and taboo and, you know, something that I want to try, but I'm scared to, so kind of why I've been hesitant to pick them up. And these I'm hoping to get to soon because I enjoyed her other Mafia books. The one that was her most recent release was Anastasia. I did include that in my December wrap up, so feel free to check that out if you want to hear my thoughts. But so far, my favorites come from the Brutal Birthright series, and hopefully I enjoy these ones. If not, they go bye-bye. Here I have a couple of short stories by Kennedy Ryan. This is part of the Hoops series. The trilogy includes Long Shot, Block Shot, and Hook Shot. I enjoyed all of those. There's also another print of some shorts by Kennedy Ryan from that series that I also have, but this was a recover and includes another short. I only finished one of them from that other printing, but this one I have not finished. Hopefully I'll get to this soon. I love myself some Love and Basketball, if you get the reference, you know. Great movie, but of course I'm hoping to get to this soon. Her most recent release in this series was The Close-Up, and that is a novella that takes place after the main three books, and this one has somewhat of an overlap, if not prequel books, for characters mentioned in the main three. So definitely going to get to this soon. And then I have 4 of Anna Huang's books that would include the books from the If Love series: If We Ever Meet Again, If the Sun Never Sets, If Love Had a Price, and If We Were Perfect. This series was recovered. I am going to include an image here of what those look like, but I am happy to have these. And again, if I don't enjoy, I'm sure there are other people who will, but I'm pretty sure I will like it because, again, these are connected to the Twisted series, and I know that the Kings of Sin series is also having a good start with King of Wrath, so I have no doubt about this, but in case I prove myself wrong, these will be seen very soon. The next couple of books I bought when I was still in college. It's been about 1.5 years since I even graduated. But at the time I was taking a multiculturalism class, and this author was referred to, even this book was referred to in my class. This is by Robin DiAngelo, White Fragility. Just something of interest, curious to read. And then I have The Good Immigrant. This features 26 writers reflecting on America. There is also a British version of this with British authors and writers. So again, interest is piqued, trying to expand on diversity and all that good stuff. So hoping to get into these as well. Next, I have the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. Never figured out how to pronounce his name, so maybe it's time I read the books and then I can actually see what I was missing out on. I definitely enjoyed the movies. I know the series is going to be coming out on Disney Plus as well, so before I get into that, I want to be able to read these. I remember distinctly enjoying the first book, and this one, as you can tell, is way more yellow than these copies, which I got more recently, and I'm hoping to get into this. I also have this Tagalog for Beginners book. This is, of course, a language that I want to get into. I did share that in my New Year tag for books. And this one, of course, it's because of my background, and I want to be able to speak with my relatives in the Philippines who are already bilingual, but I don't want to feel like they're always accommodating me. I definitely want to be able to understand more about our family history, and part of that, I think, is not just, in values, but also in language and food and culture, all those great things. So hopefully I really start to pick up the language this year. Then I have some YA books that I've been meaning to finish. Here I have Black Enough. This is a collaboration of authors as well. I did get this one a while back. I never cracked it open. It's still in a new condition, so hopefully this is the year for this. Of course, I have Angie Thomas books, The Hate You Give and Concrete Rose. The Hate You Give is following a teenage girl whose friend is killed during a police stop, and then the aftermath of that. This was turned into a movie already. Amanda Steinberg is in it. Phenomenal actor. Love their work. Great. But Concrete Rose is then supposed to be the prequel following her father. So I do want to read this one before getting into Concrete Rose. I have heard that this one does work out in a more interesting message than this one. But this one is what started it all. So I do want to start with the publication order and hoping to get to these very soon. I have the rest of the Christine Fajon books that I own. Let me put that down before I even drop them. After Shadow Game is Mind Game. And like I said, I do have like half of the series, so I'm not even sure about the rest of the ones in order, but I'm just going to go through them. Deadly Game, Predatory Game, Murder Game, Street Game, Ruthless Game, Samurai Game, Viper Game, Toxic Game, Lethal Game, and Lightning Game. And then the other book from a different series by Christine Fajon that I have is The Dark Illusion. This is part of the Carpathian series. This is the only book I have, and unfortunately this is like the 29th in that series. So I definitely need to get my hands on the other ones, or hopefully my library has it. I have yet to check, but stunning cover at least. Here I have some contemporary romances. Sweet on You. This is a Filipino romance. This is supposed to take place around Christmas, but did I get to it? No. And the cover, honestly, is more pinkish, so I thought at the time of buying it that it was more of a Valentine's Day romance, or if not, just a sweet romance. But I didn't realize it was a holiday romance, and of course I didn't get to it this year. But maybe I'll read it during the year, if not before Christmas. That is the intention for this year. And I've never read a book by Carla de Guzman, so hopefully. I also have Keeper of the Light by Diane Chamberlain. And this is also related to Christmas in a way. It also sounds like some suspense. I believe this is supposed to take place during the 90s. Yeah, this is supposed to start off around Christmas of 1990, so, Also, relatively recent, but not historical to the point where it's like over 100 years old, or even 50 years old, but, we'll see. I also wanted to mention that this does indeed have a lovely step back. And this is supposed to take place in the 1990s, so that's new to me. I still have other older romances here. There's Timeless Passion by Constance O'Day Flannery. If you can focus. Okay, there you go. You can see the cover. And then I also have Velvet Chains by Constance O'Banion. I believe these are different authors, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was a pseudonym. And then Dream Fever by Catherine Sutcliffe. Honestly, I bought it for the lovely step back. But then I started to hear some buzz about it after purchasing it, so great things, but something I have yet to get into. This is supposed to take place in New Zealand. That's all I can remember about the synopsis. And am I about to read a bunch of them right now? No. I do have a couple other standout or standalone books, or what I believe to be standalone books by these authors, and I have Elizabeth Lowell, Untamed. This features a lovely step back, and as you can see, it's relatively good condition. There's only a couple breaks in the spine. I did just buy it because of looks, and I'm hoping to get into it, and if not, purge. Then I have here Samantha James, A Perfect Hero. This also has a lovely step back, 2 pages. I love a 2-page step back. Those are certainly going to be missed. And then Ravaged by Amanda Quick. Not gonna lie, I did try Tightrope by this author. I despised it, but it was already into a series, whereas this one I believe can be read on its own, whereas Tightrope, in my opinion, you could not, and I was just getting frustrated throughout it. It was supposed to be like a historical romantic suspense, but it was giving more suspense than it was giving romance, so I hated that book. But Ravished, I heard a lot of good things, hoping to get into it. This wasn't available in my library, so I decided to get a used copy I was able to find at my local thrift. Another book I'll have to restart is A Touch of Stone and Snow by Mila Vane. This is the second book in a Gathering of Dragons series. I loved A Heart of Blood and Ashes, which is the first book. And the third book that follows this is due to come out later this year. So I want to complete this before hopping into the next book by the time it comes out. But thankfully it doesn't come out till I believe the fourth quarter of this year. So I have quite a bit of time. But I did start this before and I got almost 50%. And then I put it down. It was just so slow at the time, and I'm not sure if it was my mood as well that contributed to it. This is a fantasy romance, friends to lovers, second chance. And that's what I got from the first half. I do somewhat vividly remember what was going on, but I think it's best I'm going to restart this. Thankfully, my library does have the audiobook for this, so I may just do an audiobook for the first portion that I did read physically and then proceed physically from there, just to summarize for myself. But who knows, maybe I'll go back and forth with formats and we'll go from there. I have a couple books by Tracy Ann Warren. I have these two here. These have lovely step backs. I believe they're part of the same series, but other than appearances, I know nothing. So, and these have like newer step backs. They look more photographic with illustration in the background. I love that effect. I do enjoy the painted illustrations as well, but you know, these ones eventually, how soon, I don't know, because I haven't really heard anything about this author and I haven't been going out of my way to reach these. I've been more so working on other authors' backlists, and that is a me problem, but you know. I was able to get my hands on a couple books by Catherine Coultier. Here is The Hillian Bride, and it does have a lovely step back, 2-page step back. I know nothing about this book, so. I also got a hold of The Heiress Bride. I believe it's from the same series. I am missing one of the first books, so I'm not sure what these are supposed to be following, but I got it because it's pretty and it has a holographic cover, so that's a me problem. I got some books by Sarah MacLean. I have never tried this author before, but I've heard nothing but great things. And my favorite contemporary romance author, Kennedy Ryan, referenced her in her book Before I Let Go, which is her newest release back in November. Feel free to check out that video. I did do like a within 24 hours read of that book, and it's just one of my favorites, if not my favorite by that author. It definitely made my top 10 of 2022. But here, Sarah MacLean's books I have. Here is The Good Earl with the lovely setback. And then I have the Bare Knuckles books 1 through 3. First one, Wicked and the Wallflower. I do have a note from the person I bought it from on Pango Books, but it does feature a lovely step back. Then Brazen and the Beast. And Daring and the Duke. I actually have duplicates of these two books. They are available on my thrift books, but I did find nicer editions, so I'm essentially replacing them before I even read them, which is also a problem. But why wouldn't I try to do that? Like, better the look of my collection by finding better editions, you know? So I am selling my editions of these already on my Pango Books. If you want to check that out, it is again listed in my shop. I have some books by Lindsay Sands. I did enjoy Love is Blind by this author, but I haven't picked it up since I even started historical romances. I haven't really dove into her backlist. That was the only book I read by her. And these are some of her other ones. I believe these are Scottish men or Highlanders. But yeah, here is An English Bride in Scotland. This does have a step back, 2-page, lovely step back. I have Bliss. I believe this is one of her older historical romances. And To Marry a Scottish Laird. This has a lovely 2-page step back. I have 4 books by Christina Dodd. 3 of them are part of the same series. Each of these 3 books follows a princess sister. The first one is Some Enchanted Evening. Also have The Barefoot Princess and The Prince Kidnaps His Bride. The one that is not part of the series is My Fair Temptress. This does include a step back. I have 3 more books by Kerrigan Byrne: How to Love a Duke in 10 Days, All Scott and Bothered, and The Devil in Her Bed. Then I have my collection of Beverly Jenkins books that I have yet to get to. The first 3 I'm going to share from the Women Who Dare series. This is her latest series. First one is Rebel, the next one Wild Rain, and the third one To Catch a Raven. The rest of them include Something Like Love, Jewel, Before the Dawn, Nighthawk, The Taming of Jessie Rose, which I actually did started, but I need to restart because it's been a while, Wild Sweet Love, and Midnight. Here I have another African American historical romance author, and that is Shirley Hailstock. This is Clara's Promise. I'm not sure how sensual it's going to be or the summary at all, other than the fact that it's supposed to follow Clara and 2 of her love interests. She's in a unhappy marriage, but her love interest ends up being someone else, so it sounds like a love triangle, but again, I haven't read it yet. And I found this autographed in my local thrift shop, so hoping I enjoy this because, again, it's a new to me author, and who knows. The next few books are by Stephanie Lawrence. This one here is The Lady Chosen. This is technically book 1 in a series. However, I did read the prequel to the series, Captain Jack's Woman, and I hated that book. I still own it. I also hope to get to the rest of the series because it was just not my cup of tea. But I'm hoping to enjoy the rest of the books, and if not, I'm getting rid of the entire series. This one does indeed have a step back. A Gentleman's Honor, A Lady of His Own, A Fine Passion, To Distraction, The Edge of Desire, Mastered by Love, and Beyond Seduction. Now I have some books by Eloisa James, and here I have Your Wicked Ways. Features a lovely step back. This is part of a series, but I don't have the other books in the series, but thankfully they are available in my library. If I don't enjoy them, of course, I'm going to be selling this off. I also have How to Be a Wallflower. This is the first book in her newest series I have yet to get to. And then I was able to find the entire Wild series. The prequel book is My Last Duchess. This is supposed to follow, I believe, a single dad, a lot of kids, and his new bride. Then I have Wild in Love, Born to be Wild, Too Wild to Wed, Say Yes to the Duke, Say No to the Duke, and Wild Child. I do have quite a few books by Teresa Medeiros that I have yet to read. In this here I have Touch of Enchantment and Breath of Magic. These are, of course, related to fantasy aspects, and I believe the female main characters are supposed to be witches. These do feature setbacks, and I believe they're supposed to take place in the late 90s, but again, I haven't read them yet. I actually got duplicates of these, and I am selling them on my Pango books, so I do have copies for myself and then others that I'm trying to find new homes for. So I also have Thief of Hearts, Once an Angel, Whisper of Roses, Nobody's Darling, Shadows and Lace, Fairest of Them All, Some Like It Wild, The Temptation of Your Touch, A Kiss to Remember, One Night of Scandal, and then a couple of her paranormal romances. Here is The Vampire Who Loved Me, and After Midnight. Last but not least, I have some books by Lisa Kleypas that I need to get to. I have the remaining 3 books from the Hathaway series. I did read the first 2, but I did not enjoy them as much as I have previous books, such as the Wallflower series. I loved that one. But yeah, these are the remaining 3 books of the Hathaway series I have to get to. Tempt Me at Twilight, Married by Morning, and Love in the Afternoon. Again, these follow the Hathaway siblings, but these are the 3 that I have yet to get to. Some of her standalones that I have include Only With Your Love, When Strangers Marry, and Lady Sophia's Lover. I also have a couple other ones, but I'm not sure if they are considered standalones. Here I have Because You're Mine, and Someone to Watch Over Me. And lastly, I have the Lisa Kleypas series, The Ravenels. This does take place within the same world as the Hathaways and the Wallflower series. And I know it's supposed to be about some of their children finding their happily ever after. So that is my intention on finishing the Hathaway series before getting into this. Here I have The Cold-Hearted Rake, Marrying Winterborn, Devil in Spring, Hello Stranger, Devil's Daughter, Chasing Cassandra, and Devil in Disguise. And those are most of the books on my physical TBR. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any suggestions on which ones I should hop into first or next, or if you have any books on your physical TBR that you would like to get to, that'd be interesting as well. But until next time, my name's Alexis. Take care and happy reading.